So, I don't have a quote, never knew Jesus or never knew of Jesus' testimony because I grew up in church my whole life. My dad is an evangelist and we would travel all over Oklahoma, and my mom, she always sang right before my dad would preach. My mom was a children's minister at the time, and that was where I accepted Christ into my life. I grew up in a charismatic church, so I've seen the gifts of the Spirit used properly. I've seen it used improperly of the flesh instead of from God Himself or of God. For example, I went to a youth convention with my youth group, and all of a sudden they all fall on the floor and start shaking and screaming and crying, and I'm like looking up to heaven like, okay God, what about me? I'm like, why am I not doing this? Right? And I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Because I'm not shaking on the floor, screaming. And it wasn't until afterwards that come to find out that it wasn't biblical. Unless someone was having a vision, they were convulsed, but they wasn't screaming like they was in pain or demon possessed. Only the demon possessed screamed and convulsed in agony. So I'm like, yeah. Anyways, I never liked the gift of tongues either. I grew up a lady every week. She would stand up and speak a tongue, and the only time I knew it was real was if my dad or someone else would interpret what she said. But like I said, I never really felt at ease about tongues. I never liked it. And it wasn't interpreted very often. So to me, the charismatic made it hard to be a Christian. Because there was always that question in the back of my mind that if I messed up or if I sinned right before I died, would I go to heaven or not? Would I or not? I did not know. I had loved ones even tell me that you can lose your salvation. Like a dog returning to its own vomit. Talk about taking scripture out of context, because that's talking about our sinful nature and how we tend to go back to our sinful desires and ways, not losing our salvation. So I literally got to the point where I'm like, it's impossible. How can I be saved if I can lose my salvation? Every time I sin, I'm losing my salvation. That's impossible. So my pastor at the time was someone I looked up to. My senior year, things happened within the church involving friends of the family and things in general that wasn't right. My dad, who was a deacon at the time, confronted him on the wrong that he was doing and wanted him to come clean and fix the things that wasn't right. So instead of doing the right thing, my pastor kicked out my family and the other family that was involved. And then there was more that followed because even though they wasn't involved, they seen that there wasn't things that was right, that was wrong or not scriptural, that was happening within the church, like being slain in the spirit. So being young and dumb, senior in high school, it hurt because I put my pastor on the pedestal. So what did I do? I got mad at God for allowing all this to happen, for me to lose my church and lose everything. I felt like I lost it all. And talk about bad timing, because I was about to graduate high school and go to college. And I remember my senior year, there was a senior party out at the reservation, the res, and I showed up with a black mile in my mouth, and people were like, "Really? You're smoking? What? Really? You're smoking?" Because I was always a goody two shoes, but I was so angry at the time, I just didn't care anymore. But I never drank alcohol yet. I was a good teacher until my senior year when things went south. So basically, I'm mad at God right before I go off to college. I get to college and I'm all about me. And I'm all about what pleases me. And I didn't care about anything about my consequences. Didn't care what would happen. I was just careless. So at first I had a foot in the BSU, the Baptist Student Union, and I would go on Wednesday nights to the service there. But since I was raised the way I was raised, they were talking about once saved or I was saved, and I didn't think it was right at the time. I'm like, what? Really? I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's not right. So the BSU band invited me one day to go to Oral Roberts University in Tulsa because I was going to school in Oakmorgie at OSU. I'm like, okay, I'll go with you. So we go to Oral Roberts to a youth rally, and I remember the pastor standing up when we get there, and he just yells out, on the count of three, I want everyone here to stand up and speak in tongues as loud as you can. And it was so loud that my ears were ringing, and I looked at my buddy. I go, you want to get out of here? Because this is not right. There's nothing biblical about this. I'm like, let's go. And that caused me to just turn my back even more. And then eventually I quit going to the BSU. I'm like, I'm just done. I'm just flat out. I'm done. I don't want none of the church, none of God, none of it. So I met some people. I found marijuana, pot, whatever you want to call it. And I had a buddy who lived off campus that sold it. So what do I do? I'm like, hey, I need some fast money. So, hey, let's have them come to my dorm room and ask me what they want, how much they want, and hey, I just charge $10 more to put in my pocket. So I would have traffic just come to my dorm room, and I would go pick up some weed and bring it back to them. Yeah, and I didn't care if I got caught, because I really didn't care. I was just doing my own thing. I had no care at all, because I was mad. So that's one thing I started doing, and then when I turned 21, that when I started drinking and partying. So every night I was drinking and partying, and then there was a group of guys from Texas to come along, and we started our own little frat, and things got more crazy. They're like these movies coming to life. Basically, we would do stuff that was just like in the movies. Have naked girl come walk around the dorm room. We clap twice and she light our cigarettes. Yeah, it's bad. And then we go to Chris shop and go distract the person working while we load our trunks up with soda that was stacked outside of the Chris shop. We stole some statues from the statuary place. We did a lot of jackass videos, which we could have got hurt too by doing that. Part of my French, but there was, yeah, we did a bunch of stupid stuff. And I look back and I could have died a couple times. Could have got alcohol poisoning a couple times. And I could have got in a motorcycle accident going over 100 miles per hour on the back of a bike. And I could have got kicked out of school for smoking pot in the dorm room, but the campus police liked me so much that they got away with it thanks to me. I look back at all that, and even though I did not want God at the time, He was still there. He was still with me. He was protecting me because He knew that He was going to use me later on in my life. So I graduated college, and I'm still mad at God. And this all happened in 2000. I went 10 years just angry at God in church, and I was just fed up. I come home, and I remember the pastor from Bunch Flat, his wife, friend and family called me up and like, hey, are you gonna run sound at our church? And I was like, no. In my head, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to church. No. But my heart could not say no. So I would go to church and I'd be behind the soundboard and I'd be like, listening to him preach. And it is a charismatic church. But I went anyways, and the whole time I would hear him preach, my head and my heart be like, whatever. I don't believe like that. Yeah, right. Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? And I did that for 6 years. I would sit there and be like, whatever. And deny it for 6 years. My heart was so cold and hardened. Then I started dating a girl. She was a youth pastor at the church. And she played a small role in my turnaround. From 2000 to 2010 was my dark years. This is where some of y'all won't understand unless you experience it yourself. Everything changed in one weekend. And I thank God, like on Job, he allowed Satan to work on me because it was one of the scariest weekends of my life. One Saturday night, I was in bed. I was having a dream. I dreamt that my buddy lived across the apartment from mine, and he called me to come over. So I walk over there, and I knock on the door. I'm like, hey, are you there? And I hear him go, yeah, open the door. In my dream, okay? He's like, open the door. So I open the door, and I walk in, and it's pitch black, and I can't see anything. And I'm walking. I'm like, okay, Philip, where are you? I can't see nothing. He goes, I'm in the back bedroom, and our apartment is the same layout. So I start walking towards the back bedroom, and all of a sudden, these hands grab me around the neck and choking me. And then I hear Satan's voice say, you're doomed to hell. You're coming with me right now. Thank God that my subconscious knew what to do. Because I yelled out, Satan, get your hands off of me right now in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Let me go. And right when I said that, I woke up and I couldn't breathe. But I felt a release from around my neck. And then I got my breath. Yeah, that night I found out that God was real. That night for sure. I really didn't sleep after that, so I was up all night. I go to church that morning, and prior week, I had car trouble, and it cost me $176.38. So here I am, sitting behind the sound booth at church. One of the ladies stand up and says, we need to take up an offering for somebody here in the church. So they take up the offering. She turns to me and hands me the basket. So I'm like, okay, thank you. Then afterwards, when my pastor counted the money, it was $176.38. That's some crazy coincidence. And I could not deny God after that. I'm like, okay, God, you're showing me that you're real now. And you show me that Satan is real. You show me that you're real, Lord. Okay, I'm gonna try now. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna open my ears to what my pastor is saying, and I'm gonna listen. I'm like, I'm sorry for how I was. It all changed in that weekend. And granted, it took a while for me to get out of some habits, but heart, my heart was renewed that weekend. It was scary too, because I would say it was the scariest weekend of my life, because I thought Satan to have my life. That night, I'm just grateful it happened, because I think it had to happen that way to open my eyes, because I was so hard-hearted that just hearing it wouldn't do nothing. I had to experience it, and thank God knew that, so He allowed it to happen the way it happened. Now, I look back at the times where I was running, and I could see that you were with me. I think about the creek I'm sure I went to. On the way home, I was by myself, and I dozed off on I-40 going east towards 75 to go to Omogi. And I dozed off, and I hear the little lines on the side of the street wake me up. I grab the steering knob, and I turned it really fast. I-40 was wet with dew that night or morning, wherever. It was late, but I grabbed that steering knob. I turned it really fast. My car did complete 360 and never stopped and just kept going straight in the lanes. I remember looking in my mirrors, my rear view. There wasn't headlights in sight. The roads were like clear. I-40, clear. And my heart was pounding so fast. At the time, I didn't really realize what was going on. But when I think about it now, I remember the drive home after that happened. I kept seeing all these Jesus love you signs, like all lit up along I-40 and along Highway 75 to Omogi. I didn't even realize it at the time because I was so hard-hearted towards God that He was trying to wake me up that night. But I wasn't. I was just hard-hearted. Looking back as a guy I used to be, I see those things now that I did not see in the past. And that's how I know that when you're a child of God, He won't let go of you. He will not let go of you. Right? He's your shepherd, and you are His sheep, and He will come out after you. He will. And that's my testimony. Where I am now because God just had to give me a rude awakening. And I'll tell you, you don't want rude awakenings. I don't ever want to be the person that I used to be. I do not ever want to be that hard-hearted towards God ever again. Especially after knowing that He's real. And so is the devil. He's very real too. I just wanted to share that. And I hope you got something out of this, and I pray that it blesses you.